In Australia, everybody knows who Telstra is. Our whole mission is to enable people to connect so they can thrive. My name's Jo Thompson. I work for Telstra. I'm the People Services Executive and I look after all the delivery of HR services for Telstra. Now, Telstra is Australia's largest telco. It's an iconic brand, and it's probably one of the things that really attracted me to it. We operate out of 23 countries, and this is because we're bringing if you think about the cables that are running around the world, so supporting Australian companies overseas, we have massive cables that run under the sea and points of presence all over the place. So a lot of people think of Telstra as purely an Australian company. We're Australian-based. We've got a very Australian culture, but we're a global company. I've been operating internationally for over 40 years. I've been in payroll since 2012. I love payroll. I can't deny it. I started out my career in recruitment, so I'm deeply passionate about process. I love things with a start and a finish, and payroll really plays to that, so I enjoy it. Why I get a bit sappy about pay is because I think it's what people come to work for. And I know that culture and the people that you work with and your career experience is very important, but no one does that unless you get paid accurately and on time. So when I came into payroll, we actually had lots of different groups across Telstra who were supporting pay across the globe. So people in HR were running pay, people in finance were doing pay, a couple of payroll people. So the first thing was to actually bring that together. And the next step in that was to say, could we take 6 different vendors that we partnered with globally and bring that down to one? And that started the partnership with ADP. Key, I think, has been we've had shared outcomes with ADP, and my payroll team are also delivering pay. So that's always in this context, and I know any payroll leader would say the same thing, is this is always done on top of a day job, which people expect you to get right every single time. Oh, and at the same time, can you transform it, simplify it, make it easier for your managers, make it a better experience for your employees, and could you do it cheaper? First thing that we did was actually set a very clear objective and outcome, and we aligned to that. And what it meant was when we're actually going through those sort of challenging questions, because Telstra's had to pivot a lot through this and ADP have then had to respond. I always felt like ADP was actually as invested in getting to where we needed to be as we were. It wasn't, it sounds a bit crass, but it wasn't just like a job. It wasn't just it's a tick in the box, we do this every day. I got the sense from ADP through the journey as well that they were as excited as doing something as crazy in the timeframes as we were. Once we'd, gone live with the sort of 6 into 1, I think 17 countries, and we did it in sort of breakneck speed. The next thing we did then was actually integrate ADP into our HCM, so into our HR system. And so, it's been quite a long journey. So we've had a 40% reduction in inquiries, and the complexity of those inquiries has really gone away as well. So if the reason we can do that, one is obviously there is an improved accuracy in the pay. There's probably a greater level of trust and confidence that we're seeing from our employees, and I think that's really what you aim for. But it's also been simpler for my team to actually support. So then if you take that one step back, their ability to be able to get accurate data, understand the data, means that we are now going into our sort of 4th phase of this transformation, which is really now starting to look at robotics and AI. Well, the employees don't know, and that that's all you want. You don't want an employee to know that you've just ripped out the person that's been running their payroll for the last 15 years and replaced it with somebody else. So from an employee perspective, it was largely seamless. They just thought it was just, simple little upgrade to their pay. What they got paid last time was the same as they got paid this time. I think a little bit more accurately, to that point of actually reduction of the inquiries. I think the highlight of this for us and the reflection of how successful it was is that we actually won a GE award. So that's, it's one of the biggest awards you can win at Telstra. And the fact that payroll won it is amazing. So there's only 2 teams that win this award. And the payroll team were awarded it, and basically because no one knew. And it's a brilliant way, a brilliant reason for winning an award is that when I put the submission forward, there was this sort of, to my boss, who just went, "Oh, really? Have you actually done that?" Yeah. And he was sort of like, "That's amazing." I said, "Yeah." And we ran pay, by the way, on the side. Payroll usually runs under the covers, and you don't want anybody to know about payroll either. So it was a brilliant highlight, I think, and recognition of where we'd actually got to, not just the work, but the fact that it had run seamlessly. It was a beautiful bit of recognition. There is so much broader transformation going on at Telstra at the moment. We're in the middle of our T22 strategy, and it's really just a replica. I'm leading that from a payroll perspective, but it's a replica across the whole company. So how do we simplify? How do we digitise? How do we improve our customer experience? So what we've been doing is a mirror of that. And because of what we've been able to do, we've created the capacity in the team to be involved in other transformational work in that payroll space. So we've been really focused on our international consolidation and landscape. Now we actually bring it together and have a single global approach for payroll. We've actually got to start to look at some of our underpinning technology. We implemented Workday at the same time as doing this, and as I said, we've integrated the ADP and Workday. The big focus now is what we're going to do with our Australian based payroll, and then how do we support the organisation through this next level of transformation, which means, could mean multiple payrolls for us. The big other focus is really about the robotics. So we've had robots before, but nothing to this scale, and really looking at things that are the outliers. Everyone has overpayments in a payroll landscape because, again, you've got so many people having inputs into pay. So working on some robotics at the moment to actually try and capture that faster, because with payroll, you've got like 4 hours to work out if there's something that's not quite right. Actually introducing some technology to allow us to get on top of some of those fringe pieces is really another key focus for us.